Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy! Hey folks, this is episode number 228, and this week we have Mr. Speed's Rich Kosak on to talk about their new stage and costumes and things like that. But as always, beforehand, we have album acquisitions.
Say that real fast one time. Just one time.
I should have said that real fast one time.
You should have.
Yeah, album acquisitions, and I don't know if we have any music news or not.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Yes,
we do.
We
Frankie
do.
Banali.
But yeah,
Let's talk about him. Let's talk about him first. He's more important.
Yeah.
He finally succumbed to. He was fighting the battle for a long time. They originally gave him
6 months.
6 months, and he went 16 months.
Are you talking about Frankie?
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
I don't know. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I'm
I was like, what are you talking? Yeah, we do. And then started talking. I'm like, I didn't know what it was.
He ended up, like I said, he went 16 months. I know he went in this last time. I was for an infection or something, and then he ended up having a blood transfusion, and he ended up having a couple strokes, and that was pretty well the end of it. Read so many people. Rudy Zarzos had some really nice things to say.
Blackie Lawless.
And I was gonna mention Blackie.
That
Lawless.
Was incredible.
That is, if you get an opportunity, go on to Facebook.
We should post that on our webpage.
We actually need to, because Blackie, it was not one of these short, little, sweet little things.
It was a thesis.
It was a thing.
It was a eulogy.
And the thing
it was.
And Blackie is, he can actually put words together, unlike me.
What's kind of,
Blackie
it's kind of
is a very well-spoken person.
He is a very well-spoken person. He's actually very religious, to be honest. I mean, it's
that came across in that very much.
Super duper. Actually, he writes a lot of stuff about religion. I've read some other things about it. He talks about theology and stuff like that.
The interesting thing is when I first saw it, and I saw it was from Blackie Lawless, I was like,
right.
Because I really don't know them very well. I mean, I wasn't a huge Wasp fan, and if you look at any of the Wasp music, you would not think that, you would think that the eulogy or the
very first album especially.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you just wouldn't kind of put those things together, but
right.
But when I read that, I mean, I was tearing up a little bit. I'm like, damn, this is really, It was really cool. It was really cool that he meant that much to him to spend that amount of that time.
And I really didn't realize that he had spent that much. I didn't realize that they were that close.
Yeah.
And actually had experience. I mean, I guess kind of basically that was the first person he met when he went to LA, and and Frankie was so nice to him and all this stuff. And like I said, if you get an opportunity, you need to read. And everybody needs to read it. So we need to post that. So.
That's the second bandmate that Blackie has lost this year, because Bob Kulick was on Crimson Idol, I believe.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, I am not a big enough Wasp fan to tell you for sure, but Bob Kulick may have worked on Crimson Idol as well. So it's a good possibility that he's lost. I'll look it up on my phone in a minute.
Right. But they so anyway, Rodney, my buddy, was over yesterday, and we sat out in the garage and was like going, let's watch the Quiet Riot 1983 US Festival, because they came into that. Basically, they only had 2 weeks notice. There was another band that canceled, and they added them at the last minute, and we were just kind of watching that, and it was very interesting, because I actually want to get Rudy back on the show at one point, because we got two really good questions to ask Rudy.
I'm sure if you reach out to him, he'll do it.
You know what? I honestly, I told Rodney, I said, we talked to him before, and he was very gracious, and he said he would come back. I don't think right now is the time to do it, because he's been writing so much like that. So I'll wait a month or two, and we'll try to get him on at some point. But we do have a couple of really good questions, and I was like going right. I was like, where are you at when I'm doing this podcast? Because those are good questions to ask.
Okay, the personnel for the Crimson Idol: Blackie Lawless, vocals, guitar, keyboard, bass, guitar arrangements, producer; Bob Kulick, lead guitar; Doug Aldrich, lead guitar on Arena of Pleasure, uncredited; Frankie Banali, drums. Stat Howland, drums. Mikey Davis, engineer mixing. Ross Robinson, assistant engineer, and Ian Cooper, mastering. I thought I
Wow.
had heard that
Yeah.
both Bob and Frankie had played on
So,
Crimson
yeah,
Idol.
he's lost 2 people then.
So,
Last few little bits.
It's crazy.
But anyway, it was one of those things where, of course, it was stage 4 when they found it, and he fought the good fight.
Yeah,
And
that
it's just one of those things.
That's not gonna have a good outcome. Period.
No.
When you get that and you're at stage 4, it's not good.
'Cause
Actually, to be honest, he lasted a lot longer than I expected.
I'm
with
like
that
you.
diagnosis.
I thought that when they gave
thought
him
it was going to be a lot.
6,
Yeah,
I figured if he even made 6, it would be a miracle.
yeah.
And he made 16.
He's a good fighter.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So anyway, but our thoughts go out to him and his daughter, his wife, all of his friends and family,
and all the Quiet Riot fans.
Yeah. So what do you think now? I mean, I mentioned I didn't read the article, but somebody made a comment the other day, or there was an article on there. What should happen to Quiet Riot? I think they should just fold it at this point.
Well, who was running it. I mean, who would be?
Frankie was
the guy.
Frankie was running it, but he had people that's been playing with him for a while, that's been in the band. I mean,
they tried to bring back a couple people, I think, off and on, and I would see it folding up.
But I think at this point, he was, holding the candle once Kevin passed away, and I think that and of course Kevin's mom gave him the okay. It's like, sure, go, because if you ever see that, and if you ever get a chance, watch that documentary.
Mm-hmm. It's really good.
Was it Where Are We Now? Or
Now we're here.
Yeah, that's a great documentary, and
yeah. My favorite part of the documentary is when he goes through everybody that's ever been in the band.
Yeah.
And he has to do it. They have to do it in supersonic speed because there's been so many people.
And then plus himself. I mean, he'd been in and out of it. It was like, it's like they got this timeline. It's like going, holy shit, this thing is a revolving door of musicians.
We've been counting down the 8, top, albums from 1980 or whatever.
Right.
But, if you think about when that record came out, I mean, I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine at lunch yesterday, and we were talking about those iconic videos on MTV, which is an episode I think we ought to talk about and do.
We will.
But I can remember seeing that metal mask that very first time, and then after that, it was like that just kicked ass. It was it was really cool, and you don't
forget it. You don't forget.
And if you look back, I mean, that was one of the biggest. That is one of the albums that they say really kind of set the tone for everybody else.
It was the first metal album to go number 1, and right after that, everybody on the Sunset Strip got
signed.
We're gonna sign you. We're gonna sign you. And the thing was, there were better bands that were signed after the fact. That in my personality, they were better bands, but they were the ones that did it first. They were the ones that had that. They were in that. They had that certain time, certain place, certain song, and boom, everything fell into place. And
it happens for some people.
It does.
It's all about timing.
Timing. That's my favorite Steve Martin joke. It's all about timing. All right. Album acquisitions.
Let us move along to okay there, Dennis.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Faded. It's kind of funny. Hey, Dennis, you got this. So
every time you move around, your arms disappear. It's kind of
your arms disappear, or your head shrunk one time. So when Dennis watches this back or listens to it back, you're gonna see your head at one point go.
Does it get like on Beetlejuice? It gets that little bitty, the shrunken head.
Yep,
that is one of my favorite movies.
That does happen a little bit.
So I'm going to end up. The thing is, Dennis has to clean his room out to make it nice, and I'm going to do that at some point. I had an old movie screen. Because I collect 16 millimeter movies, and I had a big projector screen, silver back, and I was going to put it behind me. I can't find that fucking thing anywhere. I don't know. I think I threw it away. I guess I don't know.
You've got a great big Ages of Rock podcast banner.
Yeah, but with this,
who's got the banner?
I do.
It's always at Dennis's
just tack
house.
it up there.
I'm not going to sign that. I'm not going to get that thing set up. It won't fit in this room. I got those, the sides that go like this. Anyway, see your
album acquisitions.
Don't you put your Farrah Fawcett poster up there? That's where I put mine.
Yeah. We've had that discussion.
We did.
I wouldn't touch that poster with a 10-foot pole. I'm sorry.
It was on my ceiling. Trust me. I think you're good.
Yeah, but when you're young, you could.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
handle it with rubber gloves.
Let me go off
anyway,
the rails.
let's go.
Rich is going to be so proud.
I know. He'll laugh. Anyway, what'd you get?
Oh, no, you go. I'm waiting on this one.
Oh, you got something good. Okay. So I got two this week, or since the last time. JBT, is it JBT Records? Has got it right?
JTB.
JTB, sorry.
Jason Thomas Broderick.
There you go. Love that guy. Anyway,
And I
read
probably
him.
mispronounced his last name.
So anyway, he posted on I get stuff on Facebook all the time. And I actually, oh shit, I'm gonna have to turn this fucking shit off. Hold on. Because if I don't.
No, you can't just put it in front of your face. It'll be all right.
You think?
Yep.
All right.
Well, it was. No. You had to
right
turn. Yeah, you can't see it, dude.
Yeah, son of a bitch.
All right. So just tell us what you got.
So anyway, I got a Japanese pressing of Foreigner Head Games, and we have AD'd it or AB'd it, and it's
what
freaking AB. Played the original, played this one right afterwards. This one sounds so much better.
I don't know what that means.
You can actually see it now. See, there it is.
Yeah.
Has a Chinese or the Japanese strap. Anyway, listen to it on the regular record, and then you take it off. Don't change any settings, and put this one on, and it sounds so much better. The pressings in Japan are just amazing. I've got a Dream Police.
How old is that one?
Don't know.
Is that 180 gram?
Yes, it is.
Well, it's going to be different, doofus, than the original.
Actually, no. This is not. This is not 180 grams. This is not.
I'm like,
sorry.
It's going to be different.
No. This is actually. It's made by Warner Pioneer Corporation, Japan, under license for Atlantic Records, 33 1/3. It does not, but it's I guess it's original 79 pressing, but just really good shape. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that's good. And then I did a breakdown because of this is coming up soon. See, you can kind of see it now. I got the Blizzard. I got the Blizzard of Oz. Got the 30th anniversary vinyl edition. So this was, I don't know when would that have been? That'd been.
Well, it's 40 years is when it's out.
Right.
So
it'd be 1990. It'd been.
No, 30th anniversary would be 2010.
Come out 80, so yeah, 2010. So come out then. So anyway, I got it's the 180 gram vinyl. My math is not good right now. I'm tired. I told you I was tired before. But here, another thing I'm pissed off about. It came in a fucking loose plastic bag thing, and they got the hype sticker on that bag, and that pisses me off. Something fierce. So
I've seen some of them recently that they don't have any plastic on them at all.
Oh,
it's just cardboard.
Yes, yeah. The one that I got from what was it? I bought. God damn it. The Scorpions Blackout? No, the Dokken Tooth and Nail was not sealed.
Was it new though?
It was brand spanking new.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them out there.
It's not sealed, and I'm like,
yeah, I've seen that. I've seen a couple.
The thing is, I don't mind that, but don't put the hype sticker on the loose plastic because now I'm going to have to double bag it.
It's already bagged. Just leave it like it is.
That's true, but I like bag it in my thing. Well, I'm not going to right now, so. Anyway,
you probably ought to double bag it. Just so
I'm going to be listening to this because of something coming up soon. So I'm going to be giving it a good run. Here.
Yeah, we have been waiting since we started these 40th anniversary recordings for someone to pick Blizzard of Oz, and we finally got someone.
Somebody did, and that'll be coming up here in about.
That's going to be
up
2 or 3 weeks. Yeah,
it'll be a couple weeks.
So anyway.
Okay, here's what I got.
What'd you get?
I bought a bootleg Kiss album, sealed.
Oh, that's the same one I had.
Yeah, this one.
Sweet, man.
This one was sealed.
Yeah, it's the same one I bought. That was sealed.
Was yours sealed too?
Yeah, but I opened it up.
Well, I opened mine up and played it too.
And it's Norwegian. It's a Norwegian.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah,
I found out. Because after we had Jason on.
Yeah.
Remember he said, where did it come from? Whenever COVID. So whenever I ran that, sorry, hold on a second. I honestly. Oh, there I got it. So anyway, thank you for the sound effects. No, what I did was I used Discogs and I shot the label on it, and it came up. It's a Norwegian pressing.
Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, it's the same thing,
and it sounds really
it does sound really good. It's awesome. Yep, I opened it.
I'm not a big fan of the shit off of was it not Crazy Nights, but was it off Crazy Nights? Some of that stuff.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not
only
a fan
one. Well, only one song.
Right. What was on that one?
No.
Yeah.
Well, 2 songs. No, and Crazy Nights is on that.
Right. And I'm not a big fan of those songs, but they fucking sounded really good live.
I tell you, the best song on here. The cool thing I like about this record, and you probably is this is truly a live record that's recorded.
Yes.
And you can hear the bad parts.
It's not been
touched. It's just pure.
It's soundboard. This is what it is. It's
and they sound not so good in some parts, and that's kind of cool. Yeah. I like that part.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, but it's got Heaven's on Fire. It's a great version of it on here.
Right.
And it's just kind of bad. But the songs on here, in case you guys don't know, it's Dennis does. Deuce, Love Gun, Fits Like a Glove, Heaven's on Fire, Cold Gin, Black Diamond with Eric Carr singing Black Diamond, which is pretty cool.
That's different.
Very cool. Yep. No. Firehouse, Crazy Nights, and Strutter.
Right.
That's badass.
So
it's a really good
price
record.
tag. What'd you get? 37 for it?
Yeah, 37.
I get 32 for mine.
Well, I saw a guy buy one on the auction the other day for like 120.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh no, I bought mine off auction, but I paid $32 for it.
Yeah.
And $5 shipping, so about $37.
Yeah. So mine was driven down here in a. I can tell a quick funny story about this. So came home. I told Lisa, I said, I got to meet a lady at the tanning salon at 6:00. And she goes, what? I got to meet a lady at a tanning salon at 6:00. I got to pay her some money for some stuff. She goes, what? I said, okay, I bought a record and she lives in Greensburg and she's going to drive it down there. Right. So there's a lady on one of those buy, sell vinyl things that lives in Greensburg and right up the road from me. So
how do you get 2 people in a tanning booth, and how long did you guys sit in there?
Yeah, it wasn't, if it had been today, it had been a tanning booth because we were in the cars. So her car, my car, we were switching stuff via windows. But yeah, if it had been today, but then it was kind of cool out, so it wasn't too bad.
Right.
But yeah, I forgot you had that.
I honestly listened to it after the fact, after the show, and when we had with Jason, when I was showing it to you guys, and I actually sit down and listen to it. I was like, I'm not really into bootlegs. I've never had one, but I'm not really into that kind of the live stuff, and especially some of those songs. I was like, I don't want to hear anything off Crazy Nights, and I'm going, I kind of like that. It sounded really good.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't an overly polished studio recording.
It wasn't. And
no, it is definitely not an overly polished studio record.
No. But it is good. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Unfortunately, there's nothing on here from Dynasty or Unmasked.
No.
So
what about The Elder?
No, a few old tunes and a few new tunes.
Nah. So there you go. That's mine. I'm pretty happy with it. I thought it was gonna be something exciting, and Dennis stole my thunder.
Sorry,
Jackass.
Well, that's okay.
No, it's good. No, I'll agree with you. It's a great album, man.
Hey, you know what? That's okay, because guess what? Dennis wasn't on this episode, so we all win.
Well, that's right.
I missed out. Anyway, I got a couple coming next week, so I'll go.
There we go.
But on the plus side, Dennis, I won't cover myself on the video this time.
There you go.
All right, folks, it's time for us to talk to that Paul Stanley impersonator. Hey, everybody, we've got Rich Kosak from Mr. Speed here. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for the invite.
Glad to have you on. You got some exciting stuff going on in your world right now.
Yeah, we, self-proclaimed, I think we've set the KISS tribute world on its ear this past week. It's kind of ablaze with what we're doing, and the fans seem to be just over the moon about all of our hard work, especially in this crazy world that we're all now finding ourselves in. How did we end up doing all of this stuff in amongst a worldwide pandemic?
Well, that's a good question.
Well, it's not, and it's, how long has it taken? I mean, this has got to be from concept to finish. How long has it been?
Oh God, probably 2+ years.
Yeah,
It's
because we
taken.
talked about this at the Indie Expo. You were
Yeah.
talking about, you were looking at some dynasty stuff, and I think you were starting around that time to really kind of get some things kind of going. That's been a couple years ago.
Yeah, we put the hamster on the wheel probably about 2+ years ago. I can remember playing in El Paso, Texas, and we were talking about it then at the hotel. That was when Joe was still in the band. And Joe and I always, I mean, Joe and I spent 18 years together in Mr. Speed, and he and I always really wanted to do the Dynasty era, the Unmasked era. And, Joe ended up deciding to leave, and we brought Mark on board. And Mark, fortunately, I think the first time he saw Kiss was in '79 as well. So there's this passion that we all seem to share for that era of the band, regardless of what you hear about from diehard fans, or I'll put air quotes around diehard fans, what people find comfort in as far as Kiss is concerned. They like the black and silver. They don't like the Vegasy colors of Dynasty. But, you know, I don't really give a shit. I saw Kiss for the first time in '79 on the Dynasty tour, and it was my, indoctrination to the band live. So I have an affinity for that, and I wanted to replicate it. And it's taken me 26+ years to get to a point where we could finally do it, you know?
So,
Well,
Rich, go
hang on
ahead.
a second, Bill. I want to,
Yeah.
before I forget this, you said that Dynasty was your indoctrination to them live. Mine was Crazy Nights era. So, a lot of people bag on Gene's look in the Crazy Nights era with the short. I can't say it's short hair wig because it's not really short hair, but it's not as long as it normally was. But I always thought that leather and that particular hairstyle on that, I always thought that was pretty cool. So I get what you're saying, where you're going with that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when you come on board with a band, whatever band it might be, whenever you're initiated with that band or anything in life, that's kind of what you take to heart. So you remember that more than most other things. And I can remember being 15 years old in the fifth row at that Dynasty show and just being, I mean, not only did New England come out and blow my mind, but then Kiss came out and blew my mind. I'd never seen them before. So, here I was. I mean, I was seeing party joints being passed along that were, this long, and people, it was the overall experience of the whole thing. It was interesting the other day, a friend of mine reached out and said, am I going to be able to get a sponge dropped from the ceiling at one of your shows? And I'm looking into that. I'm trying to figure out how to make that, the Dynasty Kiss Army sponge.
Oh yeah.
Ceiling in the mirror ball.
I forgot all about that. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. Wow. It's so why did you decide to do Dynasty now? Because I know you said it's taken a couple years, so it isn't like you decided yesterday. So what was it at this point that really kind of brought it around to that? Just going home to that original thing?
Well, it really boiled down to having a culture in my band where everybody gets along. We really do, finally, after all these years, we enjoy each other's company. We like being with one another. When we do get together, when we play, it sounds really, really good. And you guys may or may not know this, but we're spread out over 4 states, and we don't rehearse. We can't. Everybody works on their craft at home. And then when we get together for shows, we'll use the sound checks to run new songs and try ideas and things like that. And fortunately, we're all good enough at doing Kiss that when we do start to piece these arrangements together, it works. And but why did we do Dynasty now? Again, because we have a core group of people. There's 7 people that are associated with Mr. Speed. There's the 4 band members and then 3 crew members, and that's it. We brought some people in. Sometimes it doesn't work. Less is more with us, because if you invite too much infection into the band, it will ruin what you've worked all these years to develop. And we've cut people loose. We've had to end friendships. We've had to do lots of sort of things to just keep the harmony and keep the guitar tune, so to speak, in the band. But everybody in the band right now has an affinity for the Dynasty era. It may not be like necessarily, I don't think it's Jim's favorite era, But
Mhm.
Jim, when he joined the band, he was a rogue Kiss tribute player. He'd play with anybody. But now that he's been with Mr. Speed for 5 years, he sees that there's a unification, there's a goal, there's a team, and he loves being a part of that. And he's a huge contributing factor to the team. So we've got 4 guys in the band that all wanted to do the same era, and I'd never had that before. In the past, we pacified members of the band. They would cry because they weren't getting their way. So we would do the Love Gun era because somebody needed their diaper changed, and so we were like, okay, well, we'll do that just to keep this guy happy. Well, now it's become a situation where we have 4 guys that all dig the same thing.
So the last set that you've been using, how long was that set around?
6 years.
6 years. Wow.
Yeah. I've tried to, it's interesting, I've tried to sell off the dummy cabinets that we used to carry around with us. Because actually I have to go to a larger trailer now. If you can believe that. I haul a 7x16 behind my truck. Now I have to go to an 8.5x20 because we just can't carry it all. And it's a really good problem to have.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining, believe me.
I have a question too. Are the ramps usable?
Only if you want to break your neck.
When I saw it, I was like, man, that's really cool. I wonder if they're using that, because I've seen you made a post about there was some talk about elevating from behind like they did back in the day, and that was just mechanically difficult to do and from a cost perspective. But I just wasn't sure if the ramps were usable. You could run up them if you wanted to, but apparently that would be a bad idea.
Very, very bad idea. They are, when you're standing right next to them, they are severely angled. So it's like a Monet. When you look at it from far away, it looks beautiful. When you get up close, it's like, whoa, I'm not standing on that.
That makes sense.
So talk a little bit about the costume designs. Who helped you get that taken care of?
Well, let's talk about Quentin's costume first, because Quentin.
Oh, okay. Now, when you say Quentin, who is which member of the tribute band?
Yeah, Quentin is our drummer, and he lives in Milwaukee. Quentin really, loves the Peter Criss Dynasty costume, and he did a lot of that work himself. He did hire some people to do the lion heads for his shoulders. He dyed all of that fox fur himself in his bathtub, if you can believe that. I mean, dyed what didn't come green. He had to dye all that stuff green. And on top of that, he's colorblind. So it really, I mean, when you think about it, the behind the scenes stuff of how this whole era came to be is really, really amazing. I have to admit that. He, being colorblind, if you look at, I never even noticed this. If you look at Peter's Dynasty costume, the rhinestones that are all on, they're multicolors. They're not all green. And that was what my assumption was. So take a look at that costume every once in a while. You got blue, you've got orange, you've got green, you've got yellow, all mixed in there that makes Peter's look from '79. I had no idea. I never looked at it like that because I don't portray Peter. But he did a lot of the work himself, and he actually shocked us by getting the boots. That was never talked about. We never asked him to do it because the drummers, for the most part, don't ever really need to have them except for photo shoots or meet and greets. When else is he going to put them on? To walk out and sing Beth? He won't do that. We don't do that anymore. We do Beth, but he won't put the boots on to go do that. He'll just go out in his normal playing shoes. So everybody in the band, it was like we did solo albums. Everybody went, oof, and just started working on their own thing. I actually had 2 Canadian costume companies turn my project down before I finally reached out to my bootmaker, Chris Francis, in Los Angeles, and I asked him if he knew anybody. And he came back to me and said, I'll do it. He's even making the earring. I don't know if you saw my post this week. I couldn't find that 5-point star earring that Paul wears in the Unmasked era. I looked into a couple people that I thought maybe could help me. They couldn't. He made it for me out of lucite, and it's actually on its way. He shipped it out yesterday. So my earring was $100. It's just for one earring. But if you want to do it right, that's $100 well spent. Because I want somebody to look at me and go, look, that guy's wearing the earring like he had. I saw a photo with Paul wearing that earring. So that's what it means to us. The other guys, Jim was actually the only one. I don't really want to drop names, but I'll drop UD Replica, the guy who made Gene Simmons and Tommy Thayer's costumes that they wear on tour. He mass produced the Gene Simmons unmasked costume, which is the one that Jim, there's a Freudian slip, that Jim is actually wearing right now. So Jim is the only one who used a company that actually does make costumes for mass consumption. All the rest of us work with subcontractors who do this as a side job or a little job or something like that, but that's how it all came to be. Everybody was very passionate about it. We worked with each other. I'd start seeing pictures online on social media, and I'm like, whoa, why does the back of your costume look like that? And then we'd start sending pictures off. And I got to give a tip of the hat to a friend of mine in Texas named Ross Radley. I don't know if you guys know Ross, but you want to talk about a savior. I befriended Ross a few years ago. I'm one of the people that is supporting his book. I keep my mouth shut because I want to be one of the people that gets that book when it's done. So I believe in Ross. Why shouldn't I? All we have as human beings is hope. So if we let go of hope, we got shit. So Ross, I would reach out to Ross and say, can you send me a photo of Paul's boots? I need to see certain things. And he would, within an hour, I'd have 6 different photos. So Ross was a huge factor in me personally getting my outfit done. And I owe a lot to that guy.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Ross thing. I can't imagine the time it's taking to put that together, and it's he'll get there.
Yeah,
I'm not too worried about it.
He's got demons like everybody else. He's a single parent with 2 daughters, and he's trying to figure things out. And people want to kick him in the balls over it, and so on and so forth. I just wish everybody would shut the hell up. Just worry about yourself and let everybody else do it. And if you think the guy's stringing you along and he's taking money, then so be it. Get your money back. He's offered you your money back, and just go about your merry way. But I've actually contributed 2 sets of photographs to that book, so I'm super excited about seeing my photographs in that book.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
very cool. Have you ever gotten any feedback? I know that you guys played the Kiss Coffee Shop and some other things like that were really directly related to the band, but have you gotten any feedback from any of the band, from Paul or Gene or anybody about any of the shows that you've done, or any of the photos and stuff like that? I would think they would be super excited really to see the photos that you shared the other day. I would think that they would still get the fact that there are people out there that are still yearning for that.
I never hear from them. I don't ever anticipate hearing from them. You guys know Keith LaRue. Keith is also a friend of mine. I've known Keith for over 20 years. I think what saves my ass in this world, and something that I don't take lightly as the leader of this band, is we do this tribute band to the best of our ability. This is not a joke. This is serious hobby for us. We're all huge Kiss fans like you guys, and our fan base around the world. So I know Kiss used to say they always wanted to be the band that they wanted to go see live. I take that same mantra to Mr. Speed. I want to be the Kiss tribute band that I would want to go see. So I do everything within my power to try and make that happen. And we've never had a sole sponsor with this band. We've never had anybody putting money into this band. This is all out of pocket, everything that we do. It's almost like we have the bank of Kosak, because my wife and I sit here and we're owed an awful lot of money. A shit ton of money. But we believe in this band so much. It gets to a point where you can't even really, you don't want to forget how much you're owed, but you don't want it to be the reason why you're doing this. And if I was doing this for money, I would have stopped a long, long time ago. I do this because I'm a big Kiss fan, and they pretty much saved my life. It's just right now I've been able to, over the years, hone what we do and do it really well. And I will put this band up against any Kiss tribute band or any guy that gets dressed up once a year and calls himself a Kiss tribute band on this planet and play. And I always like the knuckleheads that come out and say, well, you don't have a hairy chest and you don't have this and you don't have that. And I always want to say, here are my boots and here's the guitar. And you can show me how to do it better, you know? Because I really do think that we finally tapped into something after all these years, and I'm proud to admit it.
Cool. I can't wait to see it. The challenge I've had is I've not seen you in a venue type of place to be able to have that stage set up. So
the last time you saw us was at that little outdoor thing last year.
Yeah, that's been the only time actually, other than some videos and stuff like that. So it's been a little tough. We got to get you back in Indiana.
Well, people asking all the time. I mean, it looks like with this pandemic, we're going to play 2 shows before the year's over. We haven't played since March 9th, which was in Marion, Illinois, at a performing arts center. And it looks as though we're going to do something outside of Pittsburgh in early October. And then on the 24th of October, we're flying to Portland, Oregon, of all places. And we've got a 3-hour drive to Canyonville, Oregon, and we're playing a casino. And it's really kind of cool because they're calling it the Psycho Circus Halloween event. And the same company that made our Serpent and our Cats and the Stars that just arrived is also creating the stage set for the stage in this casino. So you're going to walk in and it's going to look like the Big Top, and they're going to have a Kiss logo back there and everything. So they're really doing this up because they really just think that people are dying for entertainment.
Yeah, that's true.
And I really can't believe that I'm sitting here talking about a show. I'm going to fly all the way across the country to play a 90-minute show, and that's going to be it for the year for the most part. It's kind of nuts, you know?
It is.
Well, speaking of them setting up that big stage, talk about what you're doing with your current stage, with the Serpent and the Cats and all of that stuff, and who all did you work with to get that taken care of?
Sure. Well, again, I have to tip my hat to Quentin and a friend of his up in Milwaukee. They built all that staging. He wanted the responsibility, and again, as the leader of the band, I every once in a while I delegate things out because I can't do everything. And so Quentin really wanted to take that and run with it, and we let him. And there was a point right before the pandemic hit where he was working at a high school there in his hometown. And he had gotten the availability of using their auditorium to set the show up so he could set it all up, see how it was going to work, and then take some pictures. And he didn't get it all the way set up. Somebody came in and said, you got to get out of here. And so he had to sneak in, I guess the next day. Somehow he got to sneak in, tear it all down, and then get it out of the school because they needed to use the stage for something else. But Quentin and a buddy of his who's a carpenter built all of that themselves. They painted it, they measured it, they bought all the, a lot of the, what looks like the amplifiers and everything, they're just scrims that are all Velcroed onto the front. And probably the biggest concern we have about that is whether or not the stage lighting is going to be able to see through them. So then you'll see all the PVC. So it's funny on one hand, because Quentin used probably the heaviest wood on the planet to build the drum riser and the ramps. So here we are, we were trying to scale back on our staging and make everything super light but ultra durable. And it went the opposite direction. Now it's super heavy and we got to get a bigger trailer. So it's kind of like, what a bummer. As far as the props are concerned, I was contacted by a company called Visual Effects Productions in Eugene, Oregon. And they reached out to us and they said, hey, we're putting on a Comic-Con. Would you guys like to play? And I said, sure. So I started talking to him about that. And I said, hey, wait a second. He goes, yeah, check this out. We've done work for movies. and all this other stuff. We make props and so on and so forth. So all these bells started going off in my head. And I'm like, uh-oh. And Tina's sitting across from me, and all she heard was a cash register. So that's all she heard, because she knew that something had happened.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. So I immediately started, can you make a serpent? And can it blow CO2? And can it have a flame on top of its head? And within a week, we had a draft. He sent me a computerized printout of what it was going to look like. And that's how it started. And then once we got the serpent, Quentin reached out to me and said, I've always wanted to have the cats. And I said, well, so have I. So he goes, all right, I'm going to pay for them. I'm going to pay for the cats. Let's get the cats done. So I reached out to Roy and I said, can you make these? Send him some pictures. He's like, yeah, we can do those. Well, Quentin wanted to pay for them. One thing I've learned about over the years is you never let a member of the band have sole exclusivity to anything within the context of the band. So I bought one cat and he bought the other cat. So it's not like he can ever just take one cat. Now they belong to the band, so that somebody can't run off with one of the cats like it actually happened to Kiss. Somebody stole theirs. So the sign was built by Joe and his brother. Unfortunately, they didn't do the best of jobs facing the sign, so we had to have that refaced with a metallic metal. So that was an added expense. What else? Gosh, I mean, just in that alone, I'll give you a rough estimate as to the dollar amount for the serpent, the two cats, and refacing the sign was between $8,000 and $9,000 just to do that stuff. So,
and you've got one show this year.
Yeah,
that's not good. Yeah,
we have lost so much money, but to be honest with you guys, the feedback that we've been getting from the fans this past week through social media has really kind of pacified all of us, especially me, because it really does make me feel good that people love what we've done. At one of the most inopportune moments in human history, here's this tribute band that stuck to their guns, kept focused, and went straight ahead, and all of a sudden, here, we've got this. This is what we're going to offer everybody from here on out. I'm really, really proud of that. I really am. Got to be honest.
Yeah, it's really going to be pretty cool. All right, can't wait to see it for sure.
And we do have the option of scaling it back. Like it doesn't need necessarily be. It's 40 feet wide by 20 feet deep. That's what we need on average to set it up and perform. So it's not like we can go into Joe's Corner bar and set that up.
Well, the place I saw you couldn't set that up. No way.
We couldn't even use 2 double stacks on that little stage. Mm-mm. So now I've got to be so transparent with buyers when they reach out for the band now to tell them this is what we want to do. This is what we're able to offer you. So if you really want the band in its current state, you've got to be able to accommodate it. Because it ruins our reputation if we have to dilute the product that we're putting on stage because the venue that we're going to isn't big enough. And yeah, we like making money, but money, we're not about playing 300 shows a year just to make money. I'd rather play 15 great shows than 300, crappy little venues just because they want a Kiss tribute band.
Yeah. Cool. There's a venue here locally that just opened not long ago, and they've had some pretty good bands. And it's I don't know what it's called Brown County Music Center. So it's in Nashville, Indiana, and we've only been to one show there. We saw Richard Marx there, but we were going to go see Warrant, and we had tickets for Dennis DeYoung, Michael Bolton, a couple other people. They've had some pretty good sized shows there. I mean, the stage is really very nice. And the venue's it holds 2,000 people, maybe something like that. So it's not a huge venue. But that would be a great place for that stage to be in that venue. And they could sell tickets to that. I don't think there'd be any problems with that at all. Mm-hmm. and it's a cool little kind of a niche little town, but actually not very far from where you played before, but just south of there. But that'd be cool to see you guys there because that'd be neat. I think there'd be a big draw. That 38 special, did 38 special make it? Oh nope, I don't think they made that show sold out. There have been shows that have sold out, and the 38 special show sold out, but I think it got canceled. I think it was one of the COVID shows that was right at the beginning of when all that started, and it got closed down. But yeah, I think that stage is not going to be sitting in a bar somewhere for sure. That's going to be a venue stage setup, which is cool. I mean, that's the great graduation, of moving to that size of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And is that a Vegas residency at some point? Could be. Who knows?
That's a really cool idea too. I mean, we have no idea what the future holds for us as far as live entertainers are concerned. And I mean, I'm 56 years old, and I've got to eventually I've got to think about doing something else, because it gets harder and harder as the days go on to stay in shape and keep everything maintained and so on and so forth to be able to do this. I mean, I'm hobbling around on a replaced right knee. I severely damaged my back at our gig in January in Dayton. I went through 4 months of physical therapy to just be able to live again properly. And it's I'm not crying a river, and it's my cross to bear. But fortunately, again, I've got people around me that will support me. I'm just no longer involved in the load in, load out process unless it's something that I can physically manage to carry without killing myself. It's more important that I get through the shows, and it's tough enough being in 6.5-inch platform boots. Believe me, that when you get to be this age, that's why when people want to bitch about Paul, it really, that guy has given so much to us as fans for so long. And then there are these people that sit around. Now, granted, they're asking for the most money they've ever asked from us as fans in their entire career. Okay, let's just be honest about it. It costs more to go see and do anything Kiss related right now than it ever has. But I think they've earned the right to do that. You either buy into it or you don't. That's your choice. Mm-hmm. I no longer go on the Kiss cruise because I'm not spending $5,000 to be at sea for 2.5 days with a bunch of drunks. You don't really get near the band, and it's just a big party for everybody to go and hang out and say, "Woo, look at me, I'm a big Kiss fan."
Well, if you're lucky like me, you run into Paul and Tommy getting out of the elevator one day on the Kiss cruise. So
yeah, I did too, Alan. I never even got that chance.
It was just kind of in the middle of the day. We were off doing something, and just as we were getting ready to hit the button to get on the elevator, the door opened, then these guys come out and they pushed everybody back, and then Paul and Tommy come out, and there were like 6 of us, and they talked to us for a couple of minutes and fist bumped everybody and then went on their way. So that was pretty cool. But
yeah, sure, it's a great moment. We ran into them after Kiss Cruise 2 or 3 in the port of Miami because our friends had a bag that was detained, and they detained the band because of Doc's prior drug thing with Motley Crue. So the band was all milling around, and we were milling around, and that's how that happened. So we got to see the band. Otherwise, because they were one of the last people to come off the boat. Everybody else was gone. All the fans were gone, except us, because our friends had a problem with a suitcase.
That's kind of serendipity right there.
Right?
So
I said to Paul, I said, "Hey, I'm Rich from Mr. Speed, and I really wish you'd check out our band." And he's like, "Oh, I'd like to see you sometime." And just it went in one ear and out the other. I just keep doing what I do,
Yeah.
Yep.
With you guys doing the Dynasty and Unmasked era costumes, what does that look like for the set list?
Well, we've patterned the set list pretty much after the 79-80 set lists that Kiss used. Mr. Speed has always been about trying to be the Kiss tribute band that plays the deep vault tracks too. That's always been our thing. At the expos that we played, the Indie Expo, I think we did 12 Indie Expos over the 21 years that thing was in existence. We always wanted to play the deep songs because that's what we wanted to hear them do. Not just to go away on a Kiss cruise and get 5 or 6 extra cool songs added, for $5,000. but yeah, we're going to try and stay as close to what they did in 79, 80, and then sprinkle in a couple of the other things, because unfortunately for us, most of the events that hire us have just music lovers and Kiss fanatics. So we have to be able to appeal to everybody. We don't want to lose the crowd when we start playing Strange Ways, or Love 'Em and Leave 'Em, and everybody walks away. We want to be able to keep everybody's attention. That's why we try not to sell any more than a 120-minute show, because we figure, even after that, it gets to be a bit much for us. So we try to, knock your teeth out with 90 to 120 minutes and really make it encompass their entire career if we can do it. But the blueprint for the new show is going to be the 79-80, where I haven't had a solo spot with the band live in 3 years. So I'm going to now start doing Shandy again on my own, like Paul did it in Australia on the reunion tour. That's going to be my solo spot, as opposed to doing the intro to Black Diamond, because we still haven't brought Black Diamond back yet. So hopefully that answers your question.
Guess I'll have to go to that, because that's something I'd always wanted to see, was Paul doing that. So I'll have to take the Rich version, which is pretty damn good.
The vicarious version,
which is not a bad gig right there.
Yeah, it's a fun song to do. I really enjoy the song. I like playing it myself. We did do it, I think, once or twice as a full band, 1 or 2 band versions ago. But I like doing it on my own. It's a lot of fun to just connect with the crowd that way. Have my own moment.
So everyone, get out your Kiss Alive Forever books and start thumbing through. And
I was just thinking about that. Mine was sitting right here. I put it away.
And speaking of that, Kurt Gooch reached out on one of the threads the other day on our social media and started kicking me about my purple jacket and why am I wearing that, and I had to PM him, and we talked it out, and then the next day, all of a sudden, there's a little message from him: the best Kiss tribute band in history. So we went from, what are you doing this for? All of a sudden, oh my God, you're the best Kiss tribute in history. So we had a nice meeting of the minds.
Well, while you're talking about that, you want to tell the listeners why your costume is a little different than it's supposed to be?
Sure. Originally, I wanted to do the Dynasty, what they call the frilly pink costume or whatever. That's what I wanted to do. But I couldn't find anybody that could make it for me the way that it should be made. So I had been negotiating with UD Replicas and everybody's friend, David Paya, talking to him about it. Met with him in Atlanta a couple of years ago, talked to him there. That's kind of where we got it going. Then I saw him in Indy, kept talking to him about it there. He kept, politely keeping me at bay. And to make a long story very short, there's a lot of political bullshit between what he does and what Kiss will allow. So if you notice, a lot of the costumes that get done by him are Gene related. A lot of Gene stuff going on. Not a lot of anybody else. There's an Ace costume, but a lot of it's Gene. And I just my time frame didn't work for working with him. So at a certain point, I had to just cut it loose and find somebody else. So then the company that made my Love Gun costume is also out of Toronto. So my wife and I drove up on last Thanksgiving. We spent 3 hours with them. But by this point, I had already moved away from the frilly pink thing, and I had gone to the unmasked purple jacket. So I spent 3 hours with them on Thanksgiving Day, consulting, measuring, doing all these things, coming up with these paper jackets and everything to get it ready. 2 weeks later, I get an email saying that the girl who was going to do the costume has taken a year leave of absence due to a health issue. So then the whole project stopped. So now UD Replicas wouldn't work with me. Theatrics in Toronto wouldn't work with me. And I was panicking because this was still before the pandemic. So life was normal as we knew it. So we were moving full steam ahead with a schedule. And I reached out to Chris Francis in Los Angeles, who made my Love Gun boots. And I said, do you know anybody? And he said, let me do it for you. And it was one of the best things that's ever happened. His customer service was off the chart. His attention to detail was off the chart. It cost me a fortune. That costume that I'm wearing right now is $8,000. Just my costume.
Wow.
8,000. And then there's the whole guitar strap fiasco, because there's a certain individual that likes to think that he's the be all end all of Kiss guitar straps. Well, he's not. And, you know, before he got in bed with Kiss, you know, he was chasing me down, wanted Mr. Speed to use his products and so on and so forth. And I did. I bought a guitar strap from him. But then we had a falling out. He no longer wants to work with me. He doesn't even want to hear my name. So again, I reached out to Chris Francis, and Chris made my guitar straps for me. So there's more than one way to skin a cat in the Kiss tribute world. Just stay focused. Believe me, you'll find somebody. If you're determined enough, you can get it done. And you don't need the people that think that they're the shit, you know?
That's fair.
I was going to say, fair enough.
You know, because a lot of people, you know, they question why, you know, the same thing. Why are you doing this? Well, I like that costume. You know, why do you stand in your bathroom hugging a Telecaster, pointing your camera at a mirror to take a selfie of yourself? Well, you obviously thought that was something cool to do. Okay, I don't have an issue with that. So why do you have an issue with me wearing the Unmasked era costume? It's just as cool. You know, it's a lot less maintenance. Believe me.
Oh, I'll bet.
Jacket that comes off. I got a bodysuit, a choker, a belt, and boots. I'm good. Talk about travel. It's going to be easy to. We're actively seeking a suitcase that can accommodate it for travel. You know, so I don't have to pack it up in all kind of some big monstrosity like Jim's going to have to do and Mark's going to have to do, and Quentin for that matter. These guys all have these monster things that they have to now protect when we travel. These are things that other bands don't really have to pay attention to. They, you know, your button-down bowling shirt will go in anything.
Yep. Well, that, you know, to your point earlier, I mean, that's the thing that, you know, you can talk about Kiss all you want about what they're doing right now and how much they're charging and that kind of stuff, but you're getting a show that you've got in 1970, in 77, 78, 79, 80. I mean, it's the same. It's a huge show. It's massive, and they're 70 years old.
Yeah.
You know, that is a hard thing to do.
Oh my God.
And you know, so from that perspective, you know, it is, you know, and they're all older, so it does matter. And I think people take that for granted, and it's, you know, I saw it again the other day. You know, Kiss is the band that people love to hate. You know, they love them and then they hate them, and it's like I'm a fan. I've been a fan for years, but I don't know every bit of minutia, and I don't know that I want to know every bit of minutia. The thing I always liked about Kiss back in the day, before they took the makeup off, was there was always this sense of mystery.
Yeah. And
could you be standing at a drugstore in the town that they're in that day, and they're standing right beside you? You have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it could happen. I would guess you might have some idea because the hair might set it off. I don't know.
Yeah.
But nowadays, maybe not so much because wigs and stuff like that. But back in the day, for sure. But I think that's the thing that, you know, people just, they get ate up with it. It's like, okay, you just got to let it go and just take it for what it's worth and enjoy it. You know, people give, you know, I get people ragging on Paul for his voice and stuff like that. But, you know, the dude, he is what he is, and take it for what it's worth. I mean, I would rather hear him, you know, I want to hear Heaven's on Fire at a show really bad. And I know he can't do the beginning, and he keeps saying, if you want to hear it, go listen to it on the record. No, I want to hear you just start the song, and don't worry, the other 18,000 people will finish it for you. Yeah. And whether it sounds like shit or not, nobody's going to know because we're all singing it together. So
wouldn't you agree though, if you like, when they started that tour and we were seeing these first clips of the first shows and everybody was cringing, we're like, oh my God. But then when you see it live, it sounds totally different. Now, I don't know if that's tapes or what.
It could be some.
But I saw them, the last show I saw was on my birthday in Buffalo. and it was awesome. It was awesome. I got to admit, you know, it was cool.
Last time I saw him was on my birthday in Nashville.
See? So, you know, and Keith allowed Tina and I to go back and get a photo with the band. And, you know, it was, and the very next day was when my back shit the bed and my physical life just, whatever. But it was such a great night and just a lot of fun to be there. So, yeah, I mean, they dog on the guy, but he's been doing this for 40 plus years. He's been doing it 5 to 6 nights a week. You know, he's never really stopped. So I'm going to cut him some slack. And fortunately, I've seen them 65 times, so I've seen them enough live to know that they can do this. And, you know, just think about when they're able to get back out there now. They're going to be a year older, a year and a half older than the last time we all saw them.
Yep.
They ain't getting any younger.
No, they're not going to get any younger.
They ain't going to get any easier. You know?
The amazing thing to me, though, is how much better Gene sounds nowadays.
Yeah.
When you listen to it, his voice is just completely different.
They take turns being good at it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's a great point. But yeah, I've been amazed at how different he sounds these days that compared to, you know, back in the growly days. You know, and we talked about this not long ago on the show. You know, he really has a really, really good voice. He chose to play that character, and his voice had to be that way, you know, in some of those songs that he did. But when you get him to sing something that's fairly normal and without the demon part, basically, he has a really good voice.
Yeah.
So and you can tell it in the shows. You can tell the difference for sure between the two. I mean, from a voice quality perspective, I think, tone and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. We talk about that for 3 hours.
Well, I got one more question for you, and I know that Bill is just dying to know. Are you guys going to do the elder costumes anytime?
That's exactly what I want to know.
Okay, if I could kick you in the balls through this computer, I would. But
I'll hold him for you.
That makes the question even that much better.
We're not. I mean, see, I wouldn't have an issue with that because I remember the night that they were on Fridays. Do you guys remember that show?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was a super snowy night when I was a kid, and I remember seeing that, and I love that. I mean, I love the Elder. I don't like when it gets discredited. I think that there are songs on that album that should be staples live to this day. And you know, they just talk about they talk about it in such a negative way, but at some point those songs all meant something to that band because they made an album, you know. And if you want to call it peer pressure or you were trying to be, you know, whatever, that was your wall. Come on, you can still play you know, they could do that song live. Even with Paul's vocal range the way it is right now, that guy could still do that song, you know, and the fans would eat it up, you know. But it is what it is. Please.
Yeah, to your point, Shandy. If they broke out Shandy, and I would freak out. It'd be freak out city. I don't know why, but that's a song I've always wanted to hear them do live.
Shouldn't it be Freak Out Rock City?
No, it wouldn't be Freak Out Rock City. But anyway, yeah. So that's a song that I've always wanted to hear them do in person. Not, you know, I've seen the Alive 4s and that kind of stuff, but in the videos. But in person, I would like. That's one of the things that. Well, I don't think I'll never get to hear it, but I'd like to hear.
Never say never. I never thought I'd have a Dynasty stage with my Kiss tribute band. I never thought I'd be talking to you guys 26 and a half years later about a band that was never meant to be a band to begin with. So never say never.
Good point.
That's good. Fair point. And on that note, tell our listeners where they can find you on the interwebs.
Well, everybody, you can go to our official website, which is www.mrspeedonline.com. And from there, you can connect to all the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, whatever else is out there, YouTube. You can get it all. We're going to be unveiling some new things. I was in this recording studio last night, finishing up 2 tracks, Shout Out Loud and I Was Made for Loving You, because we want to be able to put a video on our website, but we can't use Kiss's music. You know, I put a little clip on my Facebook page this past week and had Facebook take the audio off. you know, which I'm not mad about. It's their right, and it's Kiss's music, but we were just using it to lip sync to. And then one of the people with the band was filming on their iPhone. You know, we just wanted some behind the scenes things to show everybody because everybody digs it. So check out MrSpeedOnline.com. Check us out on social media. And, you know, if you're cool enough, send us a friend request and we'll send you.
Well, Dennis just keeps getting rejected is what I heard, but I can completely understand that.
Who's Dennis?
Yeah, exactly.
Dennis who?
Dennis who?
All right. Well, Rich, thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Hang tight for a second as I take us out of here. Visit us on agesofrock.com. Check out our social media and past episodes. And until next time, peace out, people. Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.